Hey, welcome back, Chicago. You're listening to the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. You're listening to Get Down to Business. You can always download podcasts from Get Down to Business on my website, shalomklein.com. Hey, you're going to be home for a while, like many people that might be in education. So you've got time in your hands. Listen to all of the hundreds of episodes of Get Down to Business. And we've had thousands of guests on there, many fantastic small business owners like my very next guest, the founder, CEO of Dorage, Sean Sandona, is joining me here in studio. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So it's an interesting time, and would love to sort of start with what you guys do and sort of how you're responding to it. So you actually operate a business right nearby over here near the station, Dorage, which is storage at your door. Storage at your door. What does that mean, and what are you doing now in this age of coronavirus?
Dorage is the modern alternative for storage. Instead of traditional storage facilities, everything's done online. You place your orders, you select what you want put into storage, and through our platform, it gets scheduled. We send teams out, collect everything, inventory it, and then bring it back to secure warehouse facilities. We also provide local moving services and cross-country delivery services. Everything's booked through an online portal and allows you to do schedule changes, modifications, and it's just, like I said earlier, the modern alternative to storage and moving.
Absolutely. So right now it's an interesting time. Let's talk about students in particular. Right now on your website, you've got a great alert, very, very helpful, talking about free pickup and 10% off all storage fees for all students. Students are basically being evicted out of their schools indefinitely. So what is that? How are you helping?
We owe a tremendous amount of our success to the students of Chicago. We launched in Chicago over 2 years ago. The students really rallied behind our company at UChicago, Loyola, DePaul, Northwestern, Columbia, Roosevelt. And now these students were told just a few days ago, hey, finals are going to be remote and get out of housing by the 20th, the 22nd. And there's no reaction time for them. There's no time to plan, make a strategy. Normally for us, we're spending all of March and April ramping up marketing and outreach, and then all of May and part of June to actually do the storage orders. And it came for the whole company, all of our service schools, just crashing in 1 week.
Interesting. So you've mobilized your teams.
We did. We started doing same-day deliveries for supplies. We did free pickup. We stopped all other orders, whether it's consumer storage, business storage, cross-country, local, moving. We stopped all services, all service orders, not even taking calls for those, so we can focus on the students right now.
Well, that's very important, and I'm sure, I hope that the student population is appreciative of that, because nobody planned for this. You weren't able to plan for this, and your students weren't able to plan for it. But I guess the message overall is to be flexible. And you certainly have been accommodating. So where is the geographic area that Dorage services?
So for the Chicago market, we have 3 markets right now, Chicago, Milwaukee, and Madison. Chicago's the largest. We opened up to about a 40-mile service radius from downtown Chicago. Milwaukee and Madison both have about 20-mile service radiuses. That's for our home markets, which have no add-on fees for transport or travel. But our company is a nationwide service provider, so we can pick up and deliver anywhere else in the country. There are additional fees for transport with that aspect, but that's our main transport areas and our service markets right now.
What are students telling you? What is the guidance that you might be getting in terms of sort of when this will end?
The students, they're just pissed.
Really?
You got a lot of students who they just got holed up all winter in the city of Chicago, which is not the most fun thing in the world. And now they're excited. Spring's coming. They're going to be out with their friends, hang out, and they're being told to leave. These are 19, 20, 20-year-olds who are not looking forward to couch surfing with mom and dad while trying to study and having the dog run around. You know, the students have it the toughest in this whole situation. And the students' families have it tough because they're not expecting them to be home. It's really a tough situation for these students, and we can see it in their faces. We can hear it on the phone. We've had students crying to us. I've been handling a lot of the phone calls with our customer service team. It's just heartbreaking for these students.
So basically on your website, you should have an additional title beyond just founder, CEO. You should also be dad in chief.
A little bit, yep.
I like it. Well, you're certainly accommodating and trying to be flexible with obviously pricing, offering that free pickup, and which is helpful, and making yourself fully available to those students. We're going to get into it regarding sort of your perspective of sort of the small business struggle in this age of coronavirus. But I would love to just briefly hear sort of your story and how you got started with Dorage.
My story is pretty simple. It's a mother of all creation is necessity, right? So I had 4 storage units for years, and the rents kept going up, and I had one with a water leak. I had one that had an infestation from the neighboring unit, and I was just relaxing one day and was thinking about what I'm going to do with all my storage, and it just started creating in my mind. And I thought I was the world's greatest genius, of course, and then I found out other companies are doing it in the space, and that's okay. And we kind of create our own approach to the business model. It is a newer space in the past 5 or 6 years. And we rolled out a little over 2 years ago. And we've had to adjust the model. It's not, we had to pivot. Our business plan wasn't always set exactly what we thought it would be, but we made a pivot and we adjusted to the consumer demand.
Well, and you continue to pivot, obviously dealing with the current events and the news cycle. And pivoting quite well, that's what small business owners do. But small business owners are going to have to learn to be increasingly flexible, and we'll continue that conversation with Sean Sandona, the founder, CEO, and dad-in-chief at Dorage. We'll be right back and get down to business with the founder of Dorage.
AM 560, The Answer.
So once again, I'm chatting with Sean Sandona, the founder, CEO of Dorage, and we were just sort of getting into the current events and news of the day. Obviously, it's going to be, really, we don't know how long this is going to take. You mentioned about students, that they don't know how long this is going to be and what the current situation is. But for small business owners, it's a very uncertain and volatile time. Right now here in Illinois, restaurants and bars are being closed to dine in. And pretty much everybody is sort of having to be flexible. Schools are shut. How is this affecting a company like yours, and how do you survive a situation like this?
So far, we haven't had any real true effect. We've had to make some decisions we're preparing to launch new markets in about 3 weeks, 6 new markets across the country. Monday, we're having a meeting on that and deciding if we're going to go through with that, and an acquisition we're in the middle of completing up.
So for growing business, you are looking you're looking like every business owner should be looking at a longer-term plan, but then suddenly, boom.
Right, we hit a brick wall. So we don't know what's going to happen. Once we open it up to regular consumers, we'll see. But to be honest, I'm walking with fear a little bit, and every small business owner should. They should be preparing. They should have already had a long-term plan in place with contingencies for emergencies like this. But how do we all think about a contingency plan for this kind of situation?
And I'm curious from the perspective as an employer. So you employ a nice number of people right here. You're a small business owner here in Elk Grove Village, and you've got employees. Employees are family members, likely. They have kids probably that might be home from school. How are you being flexible with that mindset?
It's tough. We haven't had any situation come up with any family members being home from school affecting any of our team. Every person that works for Dorage or any entity that I own, they're my family. I look at them like family, and I'll go down with the ship as long as I know I'm still providing for my family so they can provide for their families. And it's a tough thing to face for every small business. I mean, it's easy for arenas to say and the Hawks to say, we're going to pay all the salaries, but how can a small restaurant or a bar owner or a convention support or a food service company say, we're going to pay everyone for the next 4 weeks? They can't. I've already heard of 4 companies that I know closing up and going out of business just last week.
Really? And I posted on all over social media a short sort of letter or thoughts regarding the situation. And yeah, the large companies out there will survive. They have reserves. They're going to be okay. It's the smaller businesses, the smaller restaurants that are going to struggle. And that's why at times like this is the time that we have to come together and support what I would call a convenience store. And a convenience store, not in the traditional sense. If you want those businesses to be around at times like this, you've got to support them. You've got to make sure that you're working with local small business owners. So have you been talking with colleagues in the business world, and what are they telling you?
They're telling us they don't know what to do. I mean, every other CEO or president of a small company that I've talked to in the past week, they're kind of walking blind. I mean, we put an action plan in place. We've already started reducing overhead. We stopped some acquisition, even asset acquisition and CapEx right away when this started. But for the other companies, they were a little bit more established. We're a startup. They were around 10 years. They've already got the CapEx. They've already made the expenditures. They have to take care of their teams and their families. To be honest, a lot of them don't know what to do, and they're scared.
Yeah, well, in a normal week, we'd be having a conversation. I'd be asking you this question, and I'm sure it would be a very different answer. What is the 5-year plan for Dorage growth and so on? This is a strange week to ask that question, but do your best.
So, I mean, our 5-year plan, from inception, our company was about scale and growing to new markets, rapid growth model. We have 6 new cities ready to come online, which would put us to a total of 9 cities. Trying to launch the Southwest by the end of the year, which would put us up to around 11 to 12 cities, long-term growing to 50 corporate-owned markets. We were just starting our franchise that we were looking into for possibly next year, offering franchise opportunities. Now we have to reevaluate, and we'll see how this shakes out. Every week, every day is going to be a different plan.
Sure, but you're always looking for good people, so let's talk about that.
Definitely. So currently we have the need for field employees, whether it's a mover packer or a cross-country driver or a cross-country mover, and they can apply at Dorage.com. They can also find our ads are on Indeed right now for those positions, and submit an application and join part of a great team that's scaling up.
As you said, a great family as well, which is really important. So there are indeed jobs that are available, and in these uncertain times, check out the website, apply at Dorage.com. Dorage, you guys are doing some good work helping students in these very uncertain times. Small business based right here. Sean, you've got an impressive story for growth. How can people learn more about the company and learn more about you?
Sure. They can go to Dorage.com. That's Doorage, Doorage. And just Google the company. You'll find out about me. Who knows what you might find on me on Google.
Well, shop local. That's the big message over here. Shop local,
Definitely.
Support small businesses, and support companies like Dorage. And I'm confident that in just a couple of weeks from now, we will be having a very different conversation. I'd love to have you back on. We'll talk about growth because I have a feeling you'll be hearing more about Sean Sandona from Dorage and the growth around the country of a fantastic company. We love to profile entrepreneurs like you on this very program. So coming up after the break, we'll be chatting a little bit about working from home and how to be productive. As always, I like to end the program with tips, advice, information about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. And indeed, you can be productive while working from home. Some of you might be forced to work from home. Some of you might actually prefer working from home. But regardless, there are things that you could be doing to excel in that area. We've also got a lot of tips, advice, and information that I'll be posting on my website at shalomklein.com, where you can download podcasts, get a sneak peek of who will be on next week on the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship from our friends at Tandem HR. Payroll advice, HR solutions, tandemhr.com. Give them a call, 630-928-0510. But again, tips on working from home coming up on Get Down to Business in just a moment.
Did you miss the open?